Welcome back, and thank you for joining me for the second episode of Second Gear with Debbie. In our first episode, we discussed the very confusing question, how do you even know that you're in perimenopause? I then went on to mention a few common symptoms, along with why blood tests are unreliable. If you missed it, I highly recommend that you go back and give it a listen. Today, I'd like to share with you a summary, or a condensed version, if you will, Dr. Lisa Mosconi's groundbreaking book, The Menopause Brain, that reframes menopause as not just a reproductive event, but as a significant neurological transition with profound impacts on women's brain health. Dr. Mosconi is a leading neuroscientist and director of the Women's Brain Initiative, and she argues that for too long, menopause has been discussed primarily in terms of hot flashes, mood swings, and vaginal dryness, often overlooking its profound effect on the brain. She emphasizes that many common perimenopausal symptoms, like brain fog, memory lapses, anxiety, insomnia, and mood changes are not just in your head, but are direct consequences of hormonal shifts impacting brain function. And estrogen is the brain's fuel and protector. And that's the central premise of her book. The critical role that estrogen, particularly estradiol, has on the brain. She then goes on to explain that estrogen is a neurosteroid. What the fuck, right? So firstly, a neurosteroid means that estrogen isn't just a hormone for reproduction. It's a special kind of hormone that works directly in your brain to influence health and function. It's like that master key that unlocks a lot of vital processes. Okay, so let's dive deeper into why estrogen is so vital for your brain. And to truly understand, let's imagine your brain as this vibrant, incredibly bustling, complex city. Estrogen then would be the CEO or the master of the city, the manager, the main guy, that one essential figure responsible for overseeing and ensuring optimal function of all the city's departments and infrastructure. And here are the four main areas that the CEO or estrogen then oversees. Brain energy regulator. And this part ensures that the city's power grid stays online. Every single building, business, and home in your city needs a constant supply of electricity. And that electricity is mainly glucose from your food. And estrogen, the city's manager, meticulously oversees the entire power grid, ensuring that the power coming in, the glucose, is efficiently converted by the city's tiny little generators, which are called mitochondria, into usable energy, keeping all the lights on, the factories running, and the systems humming smoothly across the entire city. And why that matters in menopause is when that CEO or manager, estrogen in our case, is no longer on duty, the city's power generators become less efficient. It's like your brain city starts experiencing blackouts and power outages, essentially leading to an energy crisis. And this is why you feel that frustrating brain fog, mental fatigue, or like your thoughts are almost moving through treacle. Your brain simply isn't getting enough electricity. Neurotransmitter modulator. This is the part that keeps the city's traffic and communication flowing. Your brain city relies on billions of tiny chemical signals that act like crucial little traffic lights, public announcements, and internal communication lines to keep everything organized and flowing. Serotonin, for example, heavily influences your mood, your sense of well-being, feelings of happiness, and plays a big role in regulating your sleep cycle and appetite. When serotonin is balanced, your brain feels balanced. And low serotonin can then lead to irritability, heightened anxiety, sudden mood swings, feelings of sadness, or even depression, and difficulty falling asleep and staying asleep. Dopamine. This is your brain's upbeat, motivational, and reward-filled signal. It's linked to feelings of pleasure, drive, and the satisfaction you get from achieving goals. It's what makes you feel excited about going for a run or hitting that PR or just finishing that race. And an imbalance of dopamine can then result in reduced motivation, that lack of joy or enthusiasm. You have difficulty concentrating and also contributes to the brain fog. Norepinephrine, also called neuroadrenaline. This signal keeps you sharp and energized. It helps you pay attention and react quickly. It gives you that mental clarity and bursts of energy when you need to be sharp. And a dysregulated norepinephrine might lead to that alertness becoming a little bit chaotic. So you could feel wired but tired, or conversely, a persistent lack of mental energy and focus, making it hard to get going and enjoying things and staying engaged. So you can see how all these signals dictate your mood, your motivation, your sleep, and your focus. And then estrogen, as the city's manager, directs all of these signals, ensuring that all the traffic lights are working correctly, those express lanes are clear, and the important announcements are timely and balanced, keeping the city's flow harmonious and efficient. Neuroplasticity. So this is the overseeing of the city's planning and development. Now, your brain city is absolutely amazing because it's organic. It can constantly grow and adapt and build new infrastructure. This ability is called neuroplasticity. Every time you learn something new, form a new memory, or adapt to a new experience, your brain is literally building new roads and pathways. And estrogen, as a CEO, oversees all of the construction of these new roads or neural connections to ensure that the existing structure stays strong and promotes smart and efficient development. Allow, expand, and learn efficiently. So now imagine that city manager is less present. The pace of their construction starts slowing down, and it becomes harder to build those new roads. Existing pathways might not be maintained as robustly, and this can make it feel harder to learn new things, form new memories, or adapt to new routines as effortlessly as you once did. Anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. This is the city's emergency services and environmental protectors. So even the best cities in the world face threats. Internal fires, the inflammation, or invisible pollution, or rust, that oxidative stress that can damage delicate components. Estrogen then, as the city's manager, oversees the city's elite emergency services, the firefighters, the dedicated environmental cleanup crew, to ensure that their teams work actively to put out those fires, neutralize harmful pollution, and keep the city's infrastructure clean and protected from decay. But when estrogen's not on duty for the day, your brain city's natural defenses against those internal fires and rusts and decay gets weakened. And this means that your brain cells become more vulnerable to damage over time. This increased wear and tear can contribute to cognitive issues and potentially accelerate the aging of your brain if not supported by other healthy habits. So in summary then, as estrogen levels fluctuate during perimenopause and start declining, the brain's energy production and overall function is directly affected and leads to the menopausal symptoms that women experience. Brain fog and memory lapses is directly linked to the brain's energy deficit, making it harder to retrieve words, concentrate, or multitask. You know, when you turn the radio down, when you're trying to reverse your car, mood changes, anxiety, irritability, increased stress sensitivity, and depression are often a result of neurotransmitter imbalances and the brain's struggle to adapt. Sleep disturbances like insomnia, night sweats, and fragmented sleep are often driven by hormonal shifts, disrupting sleep architecture and the brain's thermoregulator, accelerated brain aging, and here Mosconi presents evidence that menopause, for some women, can be a period of accelerated brain aging, potentially increasing the risk of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, especially if proactive steps are not taken. Hot flashes, these originate in the brain as well, specifically the hypothalamus, which attempts to compensate for perceived temperature imbalances, but that's a topic for another episode. Okay, so the proactive approach here, the brain health protocol that Dr. Mosconi uses, that women are not passive victims of menopause. They can proactively support their brain health. She outlines a comprehensive brain health protocol based on lifestyle interventions. So a brain healthy diet would emphasize a Mediterranean type of diet, rich in healthy fats, omega-3s, antioxidants, lean protein, and fiber, limiting processed foods, sugars, and unhealthy fats. Stress management. Chronic stress exacerbates brain issues. Techniques like mindfulness, meditation, deep breathing, and spending time in nature are crucial. Quality sleep. Prioritizing and optimizing sleep for brain repair and energy replenishment. Physical activity. Regular aerobic exercise promotes blood flow to the brain and promotes neurogenesis, new brain cell growth. And strength training supports overall metabolic health. Cognitive stimulation, so keeping the brain active with learning new skills, puzzles, reading, and social interactions. Hormone therapy. Dr. Mosconi presents HRT as a powerful tool to directly address the underlying cause of many brain symptoms, specifically estrogen deficiency. She discusses the updated science on HRT and emphasizes the importance of timing. So start taking HRT early in perimenopause or within the window of opportunity, typically within 10 years of menopause onset or before the age of 60, for maximum brain benefits and lowest risk. The type and delivery method. Discuss different forms with your healthcare provider, for example, transdermal estrogen and an individualized approach. She reassures readers that taking HRT is not a one-size-fits-all and requires that personalized medical consultation. There's also a lot of targeted supplements. Certain vitamins, for example, vitamins B, vitamins D, magnesium, and omega-3 that can support brain health, but always in consultation with your doctor. Ultimately, the menopause brain is a call to action, and Dr. Mosconi urges women to be proactive and informed about their brain health during midlife. She urges women to advocate for themselves with their healthcare provider when seeking out menopause-literate doctors. And she also challenges outdated narratives about menopause and recognizing the impact as a real biological brain phenomenon. The book empowers women with knowledge, shifting that conversation from a pathologized view of menopause to one that recognizes it as a critical window for intervention and lifelong brain health optimization. So my takeaway here is that estrogen helps keep your brain nimble, adaptable, and constantly capable of learning and growing throughout your whole life. When estrogen levels decline, your brain's amazing capacity for change isn't gone, but it does require more conscious effort to maintain and can sometimes feel a bit more sluggish. This is why staying mentally active and challenging your brain and engaging in new experiences is so incredibly important during this menopausal phase. And that brings us to the end of another episode of Second Gear with Debbie. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope this conversation has shed some light on what you're experiencing and given you some answers, and most importantly, left you feeling a bit more empowered and understood. Remember that you're not alone in this journey, and there are always ways to keep thriving. So if this podcast resonates with you, or you learn something new that other women need to hear, please share this episode with your girlfriends, your sisters, your running buddies, anyone who needs to shift into their second gear. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. And if you're looking for one-on-one coaching, let's set up an appointment. I'll put a link in the show notes for you. You're welcome to leave a comment or a review. I respond to each one of them personally. Until next time, keep moving and listening to your body.